All right, so we have a new tournament. We've got the World Wonders. We'll jump into it and see what the deal is. Had a good weekend round in the Go Long tournament. Brought out all the big stuff. Let's see what we get here in our the banner. Trying to get see what the last epic is. I'm trying to get like Grim Reaper because I'm almost getting it. I think that's the next one to try and max out. Apache. There we have it. The Jungleist. There we go. Replenishing my berserkers. I've been using I had to use a few berserkers on that one, but a couple tournaments ago I just missed the top 10 and I blew through a bunch of berserkers on that one. Alright, there you have it. What is our ball that they're offering us this week? A power 9 ball with 10 topspin boost. We will see. Let's clear off some slots here. So we've got we have our qualifying round, the first qualifying round. Today is definitely a good day to practice. We will see what we can get done now. Let's check this out here. The world, let's see where the pin placements are. Check out the sites of the upcoming World Wonders tournament. Taking place at Jamal Dunes, sumptuously smooth golden dunes surrounded by lush, vibrant greens. And stark desert, that's what the deal is. So it looks like it's at just the original pin placement, which is good. And let's start this bad boy off with this first hole. Let's go look at it. This first hole, is this hole number 1? This is hole number 1. There's several ways that you can go with this. You can lay it up right here and you got a beautiful drive, second shot to the cup. Let's see what Tommy says, because it seemed like for a while it was that 10%, doing the 10% to the shot to the cup, but it seems like they've added in a little micro adjustment. It's like 10 plus 0.1, or there's some little micro adjustment if you're in this area. What you're going to see a lot of people do this week is go for the green or go to get up into this area. I think it's easier. It's easier when you're on the tee box if you're trying to go for the green, if we can draw a straight line here. For going straight from the cup to the tee box. It seems like it would be, like you could get this bounce here, but the deal is you got to get your bounces just right to clear this area. Whereas if you're going this direction, if you can get your first one in the pocket, you can almost hit a straight shot to get up there. When these holes first came out, we didn't have topspin boost balls, so like getting up there, you really had to have wind going with you, and you had to hit it just right. But with topspin boost balls, I think in rookie, even if you've got a headwind, it's probably going to be difficult to get up there. But with topspin boost balls, it changes the whole game. So we do have the opportunity to get up on here, and you're going to see a lot of people this week going for it. Going for it. I think just here, I'm gonna demo just doing the shot to here and then taking the second shot coming up. We all know what this looks like. You're either gonna hit it right, and you're gonna get into the right spot, and you got a nice short little chip, or you got a wedge. It'll be real close up there. And I have been right off the green. The one thing with this shot is that you can't, if you screw up here, you could be you'll probably be fine, depending on what your secondary clubs are. If you've got a Nirvana, you'll be fine. Spitfire, you'll be fine. You can find yourself behind these trees, and if you do, you're going to need to just get around, get up on the green, make your putt, and move along a little doggy, but we'll do the layup shot just to see what that looks like. I don't like this tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament. If that sounds like a broken record, it's the deal. It is. Let's take a bag right there will work just fine. Just fine. We'll take a Titan, the king of balls. Let's make sure, what was my, what were my, okay. That bag will work. You know what the difference is between an APOC 7 and an Extra Mile 9? About 4 yards of raw distance. There's not a lot of shots where you do the max curl, where you're doing the curl, but the raw distance, and sometimes the raw distance doesn't come into play, and sometimes it does. But that's really the real difference. I think the ball guide's about the same. It's actually easier to move to adjust the rings. Now, if you do max, you're going to be too long. I think you don't need to do max. I'm going to do 6. It rolls out down there, so this is one of those ones. I think I'm going to pull back to the +6 mark, and let's do 6.5. +8 mark. 3/4. If I do 10%, that's 3/7, so that's about 1 3/4 rings. Hitting it perfect. Perfecto. Whoa down, Cat Daddy. Whoa, whoa, whoa down. Whoa. Pulling it back. I think I moved it around and it was at the +8 mark with like 6 top spin, maybe 5.5. You don't really need to get that far down into it. With this wind though, this is the day where you're trying to get your first bounce up in this area and you're trying to run that gap. With a 3 power, even with like maybe even a 3 power topspin boost ball, you might be able to get it going in that direction. To use the wind right there, you can see where their second bounce is. It's just right on the other side of the sand. That great, if they can make this first bounce, might actually have worked for them. They're lucky they hit it 30 rings straight to the left. That's an example of hitting it bad and it ends up working out good for you. Okay, there's man. There's max. I'm at about mid club. It's 2.3 per ring. If I add on 10%, that's 3/1. That leaves me 7. I'm gonna do like a ring and a third. I don't have my calculator out. What was I thinking? Isn't it perfect? Just a bit of an overpull. What was that, 2.8? It would have been, now I'm gonna get my calculator out. Of course, 2.8 times 1.1 divided by 2.3 is 1.33 rings. And I did about 1/4, so there you have it. I overpulled it. So that might not be too bad, 10%. I still think that there is a little teeny bit of a micro adjustment, like 10% -1, and it might be one of those things that we have to chase the wind. So if the wind's blowing from one direction, we got to add on 1, and if it's blowing from another direction, we got to take off 1. But there is definitely a shot just laying it up, and you don't have to bring out anything big in order to lay it up down there. Nice. Nice. Nice shot. I really, if you're really, I mean, that hole right there, if you've got the ball inventory, it's worth trying to go for it. It's the catch-22. It's the risk versus reward deal. The reward out here is that every single time you hit the shot, you can set this up so that, you know, like right there, I pulled back to the +8 mark, so I left myself room in front, so if there was a headwind, I could work the wind out. You could stick with the same ball, just tap it out there. You're going to have a very similar shot every time. You're going to be close to that mid club just about every time you're out there, so that you can really try and work this number. The deal is you'll have to have that wind adjustment worked out, and you'll have to hit perfect. I mean, this is the distance you're going to have to hit perfect. The deal with taking this shot is that if you can get up there where my opponent was at, or even just a titch further, you definitely, I mean, now you're talking about, especially if you use a rapier, you're talking about flattening out your topspin, and you're really in the zone. You got a killer. I mean, if you had to take this shot right here 100 times, and you had to take this shot 100 times, which one would you make more? You'd make this one. At least I would. But the deal is, that's not the hard part. The hard part's getting to that spot on a consistent basis. So, like, what are your odds of getting in this spot and making the shot? If we knew exactly what the adjustment was and you hit perfect every time, what are your odds of making it from here? Versus, what are your odds of getting to that spot? That's the question. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Even if you have the ball inventory that you could try and go for this shot and get up in here, which is better, being consistent and taking the same shot over and over, or trying to get up so that you can get a pretty much, not necessarily a gimme, because you can still miss these shots. But that's the question. That is the question. All right, there is a killer rough bump on this, and in the past we've always done like a +10. But I think once again, they've gone through and manipulated the variables, and I'm not so sure that it's not, you know, +10 and then we have to add on something, or we always want to round up, or we want to do something else. So we will see. I have no clue what ball to bring. I think you can do it with just, I think there's a red line issue right there, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you do have to bring out, you may have to bring out a bigger ball in order to be in a certain club. So let's check it out. We'll take the let's see what balls I have tagged. We'll take the Berserker out. We'll keep the Nirvana, and we'll put a Katana. And we will check it out. Now, you don't have to do the rough bump here, and there is, the cool thing about this rough bump is that if you're getting a pure tailwind, this rough bump goes like this, and ideally you want to be here in the front going at it, but you can start off over here on the side and kind of bring it around. So if you've got this kind of tailwind, you still have room to work it out. It's when we get winds from these directions that it's a little bit more difficult, and you may have to involve the sand. They've got a Nirvana, or excuse me, a Navigator. I never really liked the shot from over here because this is on a hillside. It's not that bad, and there is a little teeny bit of a flat area down here, but it's still running a little bit like this, where it's still got a little bit of angle. So if you hit a little bit, if you don't set it up and you're off to the left or the right, the ball is going to respond different than what your ball guide says. It's not that you can't make it from over there. I just think the rough bump gives you a better shot. And this one works really good for the rough bump because you don't have to pull over the sand. I am right at the red line with a 3 power ball. .6. It's 3.96 rings. If I do 1 per ring, I'm going to do the 1 per ring. 3.96. Hitting it perfect. Just a bit of an underpull. Now if I did it by divide 0.9, it'd have been 4.4 rings. Man, that seems like it would have been too much. I find some holes, if I hit my Grizzly and I'm at max club, the book, Golf Clash Notebook, says that it should be 1 per ring, but sometimes it's 0.9, and it really just depends. I think if I did, let's see what that math would have worked out to. It's 4.4. Hold on. It was basically 4 rings versus 4.4, and 0.4 seemed like it would have been too much. Divided by 0.9. And it almost feels like that might be like a 10% minus 0.1, or there is for sure a micro adjustment in there. Now if you bring out a smaller ball, that's one of those holes that you're going to have to, with a 3 power ball, my red line, if I use my Grizzly, was right here. Now I could have brought out a Goliath, and that's going to push my red line forward so that if we have a pure headwind day, you'd have room to work out the wind. And your rings are going to be, depending on what level your Goliath is, if it's maxed out, it's 1.8 per ring. So it gives you a little bit more leeway if the wind's coming from this direction, so that you wouldn't have to pull over the sand. So I think on this hole, I'm going to definitely bring out a 3 power ball, and a Titan will work fine. If you find that you have to pull over the sand, you could change that to a Kingmaker to cut the wind down a little bit and bring out my Goliath instead of my Grizzly. That way I don't have to worry about the sand, and I can take the same shot every round. That way you can standardize it once we figure out the adjustment. It's in the hole. In the hole. In the hole. Hole number 3. Now this hole right here, we definitely want to bring out a 3 power ball. And a Kingmaker is the ball. And we want to get into this area right here, and there is a rough bump right here and a funnel, and this is a money shot. And you can get at it with a ball that doesn't have 3 side spin, but you have to, it's almost like you have to put a little bit of curl on it, and you've got to be down here on the second shot where you're doing the rough bump. The rough runs like this, and you got to get so close, and it's one of those deals that you're moving it to the left to try and get your ball guide. Your ball guide's right here, and here's the hole, and you're moving it to the left to try and bring your ball guide over to the hole, and the more you move it to the left, the more your ball guide moves to the right. And when you move it to the right, your ball guide will move to the left, but you'll get to a certain spot where all of a sudden it'll start going to the right again. And so there's a funnel right there, and in order to get into that funnel, it really, a 3 side spin ball is the way to go. And I believe it's 10% to the cup. I believe. I think on this hole I've always done like a 10 and a 10. 10% on the drive, 10% on the second shot. I'm not going to say that I'm sure on that second shot, because it seemed, for some reason in my brain, it's stuck in here. I was trying some different stuff on this hole, and one of my teammates, Daz, was like, try this shot right here, this is money. And he's the one that showed me this shot. And I'm not so sure that if I went back and watched some of my older videos that we weren't doing like -10 on this, which is counterintuitive because it's downhill and you should be, you know, theoretically you should be adding wind on. This is definitely a shot you want to have the numbers for what your drive is so that you're in the same spot every time. There's 6.5 topspin. Because I really want to get up into this zone right here. .5, that'd be 2.75. 2.75 divided by 2.1. It's 1.3 rings. I'm going to do a little teeny bit of curl just to bring it into that corner. Isn't it perfect? Perfecto. Let's see where I'm at. Yeah, that'll work. This gives us a little bit more of this rough to deal with. And they got 3. I'm going to put on all the side spin, and it looks like 3 top spin. See how they're moving it to the left, and the ball guide's moving to the right. It's waggling the tail. I catch this hole in 1-on-1. It's in Tour 7 right now. I catch this hole, and I will switch to a Quasar to try and get it done with a 2 side spin ball, and you have to put a little teeny bit of curl on it in order to help it out. So close. All right, we'll try that. We'll try it. And I'm not so... .39, 4.29 rings. .3. Hitting it perfect. Get down there. Get down there. Right on the edge. Right on the edge. Arrgh. Right there. That shot, there's a great shot right there. Three topspin, 3 left-hand side spin. Find the spot. And I should have left it where I was. I pointed it to the hole, but I was on the edge of the cup over here, and I should have left it where I had it. I felt like that was the right spot, and then I moved it. And I think if I'd have left it on that left-hand edge of the cup, that it would have went in. I actually need to tank this. Man, do I want to tank this round? I might. We'll just keep playing. I've got other accounts I can play. I may play my Odd account Pro this week. Maybe. This has never been one of my favorite holes. It seems to me like there should be a good rough bump here. The problem is where the pin is at. Let's see where the pin is. You can see where the flagpole is right here. So let's step back and look at our tee box. So from the flagpole to the tee box, or in this line. When you're doing the rough bump, you really want to be as far to the right as possible so that you can work your way around that sand, because it kind of wants to suck towards the sand. So if you hit a grate to the left and you're doing trying a rough bump, I think you can do it with a Goliath, but I'm not going to swear to that. And that plus 20 might be right. We'll see. This is not one of my favorite par 3s in the game. Not that it's super difficult. You can hit it a little too fast and end up rolling off the back. Fairly easy. But it's one of those boring as hell par 3s. It doesn't have much to say for itself. There's somebody out there that's like, man, every time I get on that hole, I get a hole in one. Dang people. Let's see what we got here. Let's swap clubs. Let's hit it with the Goliath and see if we can get all the way there. We can. Two times 1.2 divided by, and I'm close to min. Kind of in between mid and min. And mid is 2.1 divided by 2.1. It's 1.14. Hitting it perfect with 0 time left on the clock. And overpulled it slightly, and didn't have quite enough topspin. I left it a little short, but you can see what I'm talking about on running past this sand. This is one of those areas, especially because you've got to use the Goliath. Goliath works great when you hit it perfect, but its rings are 1.8 if it's maxed. So if you hit it one ring off its first bounce, it's only 1.8 miles per hour to the left. Let's say you hit it to the left. But as it rolls out down here, it's going to put you right up against that sand. And there's a good chance that you're going to end up in the sand on a shot that you could just bounce it up there and not have any issues with it. So you can get a little bit risky. I think that the rough bump is actually a little bit risky on that, but I do think that might be your best way, maybe. All right, what do we have? I have no notes, so we're just playing from memory here. Hole number 5. Hole number 5. All right, this hole right here screams a topspin boost to get you up on the green. And even if you're close up here, in the past I've always done like a plus 10. It's one of those shots where you're here and you're hitting it up the hill and then it's coming down the hill to the cup. And it can be a little bit of a challenging second shot. But I have found if I hit it straight up and I hit it perfect, I miss it. So I have in the past always added on 10%. But a topspin boost ball, you could get up there, or a bigger power ball, and it carries a bunch down in this area. So if you're trying to hit on the top and going for it, this isn't a bad shot for a big topper, because if you can, like if you bring out a bigger power ball and you can overpower and get down into this area, you can increase the odds that you could get to the cup. But if you didn't overpower and you pulled your club back into this area, a big topper would definitely help you get, with all of its topspin to get down there. Hold on one second. All right, we're on hole number 5. Now let's think about what we're going to do here. So I think if you bring out a big enough ball, you can actually get over to the other side. So let's try it. I think you can get down into this pocket right here if you bring out a big enough ball. But I'm not sure in Ricky what you have to bring out to get there. So let's check it out. Let's practice it. Then we'll have an idea. And this is another one of those holes that it's counterintuitive on that +10 on that second shot, because the cup is here, you got a little hill that you're going over, and you're down here in the fairway, and so you're pretty much hitting it uphill, but yet we're adding wind on. That's why I'm saying, like, quit using the word elevation and golf clash, because it's not a, yeah, with just a regular power 3 ball you can get over there. So if you bring out a power 5 ball, you don't have to do any overpower. And so let's see what that looks like. Do 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 do. So you can set it up, and you got a little bit of a window. If you pull back just a little bit, you got a little bit. What do we got here? Maybe a ring and a half that you could move out if you were using an extra mile. What do you got? You got a little bit, even more. Or you can hit it from the top. Now, if you're hitting from the top, it carries a lot here. And so you really got to be careful of the wind and it carrying you over that lip. So, like, I'm not sure if you, even like a 10% might not be enough, because it will carry you. And if you're hitting on that roll like that, and you're starting off up here and you give yourself 2 rings of separation, but you hit right here, what it'll do on the other side is take a very flat bounce and just dig in right up here. And so if you're going to hit from this side, you really want to hit up here at the top. And I think a big topper is probably not a bad way to go. Very nice. Very nice. That works, my friend. That works. Yeah, if you hit up here from the top, I don't think I have a big topper. I do have a big topper in the bag. Let's check out that wind adjustment. It's 2 per ring. It's 2 per ring right there, so be 4 or 5 would be a ring and 2 1/4 rings. That's straight up. Let's see how far it pushes me off. Perfect. And it definitely pushed me off to the side, for sure. My opponent's going to make this, and we won't get to take our second shot. I'll shoot that again without trying to get up there, so that we can verify that if we're down in that lower spot, we want to do a +10. Let's see what I have. That will work. We'll do the same. We'll do the same deal. It did push me off. I was going straight down the fairway, and it kind of split the difference between where I wanted it, where I was aiming, and that rough on the left-hand side. So I'm going to do a plus. I think it feels like the side wind, how much it's pushing you off course, is probably in the like +10, +20. But when you got a pure tailwind, it is really, really lofting your ball forward. think everybody's going to go for it. Everybody's going to go for the green. I almost feel like I got to go for it. We'll do the layup shot just so that we can verify if you do end up down in the spot. Even from right there, well, they're close enough that they can just run their topspin and probably not have to do too much of a maneuver. But I think even from where they're at, wind is still going to be a factor. Even with my big topper, I could make it. There's 2 solid rings. And it is 3-1, so that's a ring and a half. If I add on 10%, that's 3.4. There's 3. There's the 0.4. Hitting it perfect. That area there is definitely the plus 10 mark. It's 1.1 times whatever the wind is divided by wherever I'm at in my club. I think the way to go here, the risk versus reward, it's definitely worth bringing out the right stuff to try and get up on the green. Ideally, if you brought out a power 5 ball, or excuse me, a power 10 ball, you could get right up on it like my opponent during the practice round and get up on the green. You really want to watch your topspin there because you can roll off pretty easy. There's max, there's mid. This is one of those times where I think it's better to actually get up close to the hole, so that your ball guide's not being so affected by the hillside. 3.5 divided by 2.4, about 1/6. A great that was a weird bounce right there at the end. I think if I'd hit it perfect, it would have went right in on the edge. Alright, there you have it. I think you do need to do an adjustment on that, for sure. That hole right there is definitely makeable. The deal there is that that's definitely a hole we want to bring out whatever it takes in order to start off on this side so that we can get, I'm not necessarily sure I want to get on the green, although you do have a hole-in-one shot. I'm not really interested in that. What we really want to get here is an eagle. And we can get that by just putting ourselves right on the lip and then short chip, you know, flat chip on the green. Hole number 6. Hole number 6. All right, if you have lower developed stuff, I'm not saying that this is easy. There's some risk involved in trying to get out into this area. And you don't have to get too far out into this area depending on what ball you bring. You really just need to get, like even with the outside of the sand, like somewhere in this neighborhood, because there's a rough bump that you can do through here and go straight at the cup. And I believe you can do that with a sniper. If you get way down in here, and you can get way down in here, I've actually overdrove this trying to see how far you could get down in there. You can with some of the newer balls. You do have a pretty good shot, but you take the rough bump out of play. And there is a pretty nice rough bump. So anywhere out here will work, but to get out here, you got to get through this little teeny narrow ass neck. And if you're off trajectory on your first bounce, you know, let's say you're using an extra mile and it's 2 per ring. You're 2 per ring off here, so you wanted to hit here and you hit 2 miles an hour to the left. First bounce is one ring off. Second bounce is now more than one ring off. I'm not necessarily sure that it's two, but it's definitely more than one, because your angle's going off, so the farther out you get, the more off you are. And so bounce number one's off, now bounce number two is in the rough. If you can get to bounce number three, you got a pretty good shot of making it through the gap. Same thing if you hit it to the right, you can end up in the sand. And if you end up in any kind of trouble up here, you are in big ass trouble. But what you can do is you can try and lay it up right here, and it's not necessarily easy to get it laid up right there, but you can. And if you have a big dog, you can start off right here with a 3-power ball, and you can run all your topspin, and you can get up on the green to make your eagle and move along little doggy. But this is kind of tough, and the second shot can be a little tough, especially if you've got a headwind day. But it is an option. If you're having issues trying to get down in here, there is another way to play this hole. It's not, I played this hole quite a bit like this, but you really do have a better shot from down here because you got that rough bump. Let's try the rough bump. And I'm going to bring for this amazing feat. Now if you have a big dog or Cataclysm, either one of those will work. I don't think I've got either one. That APOC has, what is the APOC got? 88 top spin versus 85 for an extra mile. The whole goal is not to have to do any overpower. And I'm not so sure I don't need a 3 side spin ball for the second shot, so we'll take a 3 side spin ball just to be sure. I think you can hit yourself. The deal on the drive is that you can hit yourself too far forward and take the rough bump kind of out of play. If you have a bigger side spin ball and you overhit it, you can use your side spin to kind of help you out and bring you back, but you don't necessarily have to get all that distance out there. .39, 1.1 times 3.9 divided by 1.2, 3.57 rings. 3.6. I hate these courses that have this color green because it washes out our ring set, and I think I hit it too far. That'll be close. I may need the 3 side spin ball just to bring me back to the left. Yeah, I think I really would have rather been right here, just right past the sand, or right even with the sand, but I'm kind of out here, and my angle to the cup, I'm going to have to use left-hand side spin to bring it back if I want to do that rough bump. I'm going to do 20% on the second shot. I'm not sure that that's right, but it's definitely, it looks like a 20% shot. It feels like a 20% shot. If I can get my ball guide going, and I do not like the fact that my ball guide's appearing and disappearing. 3.7. I have no idea where I'm at in my club. Kind of mid. 1.5 divided by 1.5. It's 3 rings. I'm going to run out of time. Out of time. I don't remember the ball guide appearing and disappearing like that, but I think that it might be because I overshot it. And I'm coming in at this angle and having to bring it back around, but if I was coming in more straight at it, I wouldn't have to, I think my ball guide would be a little truer. Typically when your ball guide's appearing and disappearing, it's what's happening is your ball guide's cruising along and you can see this lip right here, and it hits that lip and then it's got to make it, and your ball guide can't keep up with all of the movement on the course. And typically what will happen is that the short, wherever it was short, that's probably the true, where it's going to end up as short. My opponent almost got it done with a white ball. Nice. A lot of times you get on this hole and you got headwind if you're playing one-on-one, and you can't, it just does not want to, it's hard to hit it straight forward. .5, 2 rings exactly. And a great. That's what I'm talking about. It ends up short because the ball guide's appearing and disappearing. Might be better just to go at it. I played this hole a lot with my Guardian because it's got the distance that you need. If you got mid-level clubs, it's not a bad choice. It's got good distance. Your sniper might be a little wanting if you're using a low power ball. Okay, let's tank this round. I was talking to my teammate who called earlier, was my teammate Mike D. What's up, Mike? And he shot a 17 in the qualifying round. Said he made all 3 of the par 3s. I asked him what he did on him, and he's like, I don't know, I just winged him. Dagnabbit. It's one of those things about peaking too early. I never want to peak in the opening round or the qualifying round. All right. This is another hole right here we definitely have. There's one of these holes, and I can never remember which one it is, that if you have to pull over the sand, you need to push it back forward like a quarter of a ring. But I think on this one, you can get right in this area right here and go for it. And I'm not sure. Let's see. I think you can just do this with a, I'll take a Nirvana, and we'll start off with a Nirvana and see what happens. We'll see if we need to switch to a Quasar. It's 1.1 times the wind. Make sure I got the right bag. Here we go. I'm back home so I can make noise. I can sit on my back patio, and my neighbors across the street are probably wondering, what the hell does that guy do over there? Because you can't see my house from theirs, because I have trees behind me. We hear him yelling out there all the time. Yeah, right. There is a rough bump right there. There's a shot that you can do. Okay, this hole's all coming back. This rough bump is dangerous right here, but this hole has. This is another hole that I've just never had a lot of luck on. I have made hole-in-ones on this hole, but this is not a hole that I feel like it's a big hole-in-one shot. And typically I'll come at it from the left-hand side and try and bring it around, and it's always a little off. But there is a rough bump here, and that's what we are going to do today. Maybe my opponent did not add on the 10%, so maybe we can be just a little closer. There's Max. So I'm in Max Grizzly times 2.3 divided by 0.9. 2.81 rings. I don't know if I have enough side spin to bring me back around. Let's swap that ball out for a katana. There we go. Pushing me more towards mid. I'm going to do the 2.81 rings and we'll see what the deal is. And a great. I had no time. And I hit it great to the right and it ended up to the right, so that sand there is definitely distorting the rings. Definitely. I do believe a 3 side spin ball is the way to go. It might be better, to be honest with you, to bring out a 3 power, bring out a Kingmaker, because then it would have put me pretty much dead center mid club. And I would have had, even with the katana, I had room for maneuverability there, getting down into this zone where I could have, with the wind, I could have moved it over here. If the wind was blowing like this, I could move it over here and adjust this side. And if the wind's blowing this way, I could have moved it over here to this tip. And with the 3 side spin 3 power ball, my red line being up here, that would have put me pretty much dead center mid club. And it would have gave me some maneuverability. So if you're going to play this rough bump, that's one way to go at it. The other way to go is to bring out your Goliath, because your Goliath is going to push the ball forward, the red line forward, and you're going to have 1.8 per ring as opposed to 1. So, and you're going to probably be in mid club, so you're going to have 2.1 per ring if you got a maxed out Goliath. So this is actually probably a better shot for a Goliath. And you could save a 3 power ball and just bring out a katana, and it'll push that red line forward and it'll put you at mid club. I think that's the way to do it. That is the way. We'll see. Hole number, what hole is this? Hole number 8. I need to tank some shots here. Otherwise, I'm going to end up qualifying with a 3. Okay, this is a hole that you can, okay, all right. You can try and go for it to get up here, bringing out the right stuff. If you want to try and get over to the air side, for my money, I've always liked trying to get, if I can get the tee box in the picture. The tee box is right down here in this zone, on this line. Trying to get my shot where I'm coming out into this area and trying to curl it around so that I can open up this mouth and I can get my trajectory as the ball's tailing off going towards the green. This is a good shot for an APOC right here because it gives you a little bit more curl, and you can start off farther to the left, trying to get that pocket on the other side. The other way you can go, and this doesn't take anything special at all, and this is exactly how I play in one-on-one, is I start from right here and I drive right to the corner, right to this corner, and you get a mid sniper shot straight to the cup. If I remember correctly, this mid sniper shot is like, it's like 1-to-1. You're adding on like 10%, so it's like plus 1.1 times the wind divided by, you're in mid club 1.1, and it's pretty much just wherever the wind is, that's how many rings you're going to pull. And it is a great little shot. You could start here, and if that doesn't work, it's probably an overpull if you did that. But you have a great shot from right here, and you don't have to do anything special or take any big risks. I think the last time we played this, it's good to have that shot in your bag, because if you come out here and you got a really bad headwind day and you don't want to waste a big ball, you can always go to that side. Let's take it tight. The king of balls, and let's see what we can get done with an extra mile. Extra mile, if I can get an opponent. I need to tank this shot. This will be one of the ones where I finally make one into the cup. Now, they got a power 5 ball, and it's what it's going to take to get over there is a power 5 ball. My opponent's going to demo the power 5 ball. I'm not a big fan. I'm a bigger fan of starting off farther to the left and trying to curl it back around so that your trajectory on the other side is coming out of that chute towards the cup. But we'll see how my opponent does. I think they got the right. They got it. I think they did. Nice. Nice. All right. So you saw what my opponent did. I'll hit the shot to the left. Because if you don't have an inventory of power 5 balls, having this shot in your bag right here is really good. And you don't have to bring out a big ball for this. You can bring out freaking, let's bring out a navigator. Now we'll bring out a quasar. Why not? It's about 2 rings. Hitting it perfect. I'm just trying to get right to that spot right there. You have a killer mid sniper. Now, I will say that my opponent's shot is killerer. Obviously, if you can get that close, your odds of making that shot are highly improved. If they don't make this shot, I'll be surprised. In the hole. Nice. Nice. That's what that shot looks like. I'm glad my opponent did it, because then it saved me from having to demo it. We can watch my opponent. We can learn from them. There's Max. There's Min. There's Mid. I'm going to do 2.7 rings. We'll test it. We'll do 2.7. That's adding on 10%. 2.7. Hitting it perfect. Woo! In the hole. There we go. They thought they were going to get a chest. Mid club, 1-to-1. So you're adding on 10% in mid club. And that right there, you don't have to bring out anything special to do it. The cool thing about that shot is in a one-on-one, you see, it's not that you can get in too much trouble on this course, but you see people come out here and they will bring out big stuff and then end up in trouble. And you can, that shot right there is super consistent. You can do it every time. It's not hard to get over though. All right, hole number 9. Hole number 9. Well, I really do need to tank some shots. Hole number 9. All right, this hole right here, I was actually talking to my teammate Mike about this, and he made the Albie on this hole, and I think what he did was he went this direction and ended up down here in the sand, and then was able to chip it up with a precision ball, which isn't a bad way to go, but you got to bring out a big ball in order to start on this side of the deal. In one-on-one play from the Pro Tees, I hit it down here as far as I can, and I bring out my Cataclysm or big topper, and you can come out into this area right here and put on like 3 backspin. Your ball guide's going out like this. You put on 3 backspin and maximum left or right hand side spin and maximum right hand curl, and you can just bring it right over to the cup, and you can make your eagle every time and just roll on to the next hole. And a lot of people will get caught up. This is a pretty easy hole to not get caught up. I think the last time we played this hole, Denner and I were out here and we were practicing with topspin boost balls coming from here and hitting it along this range and ending up out in this area, so you had a short little chip to get up. Because this area down here, there's several problem spots trying to go this way. Number one, you got to get past this. And depending on what ball you're bringing, you may have to get into this little neck, and then it gets even more difficult. And number 2 is getting your bounces right, so you get a bounce in front of this and then you're lofting. And it's easy to clip this rough and end up getting caught in it. A lot of stuff can go wrong between here and there because you get a lot of problems. Here, you get bounce number 1 and then you're off and running. Alright, sorry about that. So let's think about how I want to do this. If we're going to go for it, I really do not like going for it on this side. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that can go wrong trying to get... At the very end of your run, when you have no control over your ball, if you make it all the way down here, you're more than likely going to end up in the sand, even if you're trying to lay it up. Whereas if we go this way, we got to bring a big ball one way or the other. If we bring a big ball going this way, we could try and get out here and we've got a nice shot coming at it. I think distance-wise, we could get the same thing, but we don't have to take the risk of getting caught up here or getting off trajectory and caught up in these areas or ending up in the sand. So let's bring out... I'm not sure how big a ball it'll take to get over there. You might be able to do it with just like a berserker. Let's practice it once. That way we can establish what kind of ball we need. We'll practice at one time and we can we'll figure out what ball will work best and what club. If you have an upper developed Apocalypse, it would probably work better just because it's got more curl. If you have an upper developed Thor's Hammer, it would probably work good because it has good distance and it's got lots of topspin. It has less curl than your Extra Mile, so you know any of those big hitters would be good. A big side spin ball would work good too. You can see where they can get with a 3-power ball, so they can get just over that into the clear. I wish they'd spin the screen so we could see where their ball guide was going. It's good that my opponent's going that direction so you can see that shot. Now it's all about bounces from here. I got bounce number 1. Bounce number 2 is in the clear. And then they're in the sand. Oh, they're on the lip. They're on the lip. Can we say precision ball? Tighten. the king of balls. Where's that second bounce? We got to get that second bounce over. I don't mind that spot right there. I'm not so sure I need to leave the wind in, but I'm going to leave the wind in anyways. Oh, that was too many rings great to the left. That'll end up putting me in the rough right here. It'll overshoot the top of this hill. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Top spin boost ball. I think maybe even like a 3-power top spin boost ball might be better than a 5-power ball without the top spin boost. And it would definitely be better to have, number one, it would definitely be better not to hit it 3 rings great to the left, but it would be better to have a little bit more curl. Thorn. There's min. There's max. There's mid. 4.5 divided by 2.3. If I add on 10%, it's 2.51. There's 2.51. Isn't it perfect? Perfecto. Woo! In the hole. That was with a 10% adjustment. And I was in mid club. I think you can get closer than that. If I remember correctly, if you bring out the right stuff, you can get to your wedge range hitting it over there on that side. And the deal on that is this 2D picture doesn't do this a lot of justice. It just looks like there's a bunch of moguls out here, but this right here is like this. I mean, it's a big ass hill. And so, you know, you're starting to flatten out. This isn't necessarily purely flat, but it's definitely a lot flatter down here than it is up on this hill face. And so if you can get your bounces going up that hill face and you've got any kind of right hand movement on the ball, once it hits that hill, once it hits this area, it's going to force the ball to the right. Because when it hits it, every bounce from that point is going to force it to the right. What my concern was, why I was worried with the 3-ring great to the left, is that I would hit too high up here and then it would just continue to go forward. But if you hit in the middle of that hill, the ball will get forced to the right. It's like hitting a wall. You hit the ball and it hits the wall, the ball's going to bounce this direction, and that's almost what that hill face is acting like, as a wall. All right, there you have it. And you know what's really crappy about that is I might actually qualify. Well, is that really just a par 4? Oh, I did that in practice. I was wondering what the deal was. All right, let's try that. I was like, all right, I was at 10. If I end up getting this is bad. I mean, I really don't want to qualify with that crappy of a score, because you qualify with that crappy of a score, you're going to it's not good. really need to tank it. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's check my ball inventory here. I'm not so sure that just a top spin boost like a Power 3 top spin boost might not work just as good. This ball might work good too because it's got a lot of side spin. And it can get me going in the right direction with an extra mile. Let's try it out. Let's try it. We'll see if that works. The Power 3 ball, the Titan, almost got me over there with my second bounce. So I know I'll be able to get over there. It's just whether or not I can net more yardage than you will with a Power 5 ball. And if you have Power 5 top spin boost balls, then obviously you're even better. And we really do want to hit on that hill face, because when it bounces off that hill face, it's going to continue to push us forward. It's not only going to push us to the right, but it's going to push us forward. Whereas if we hit out here and we get that first bounce on a flat, then we're not going to get near as much forward push. My opponent's got the right idea. They're bouncing over. Are they going to be able to clear it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's put it all. Put it all. We're going to leave that wind in. I'm going to be 2 rings off on the right hand side. And that was a good solid ring, great to the right, to the point where I clipped the rough and hit the sign. Well, I didn't want to qualify today, so I actually think that the 5 power ball was going to work better, because where it put me up there, like right there, I probably didn't need to curl it in order to get what I wanted to achieve. But with the Power 5 ball, you really do need to put the curl on there. I think a Power 5 ball top spin baseball, and it doesn't have to be, or a Power 10 top spin baseball, and it doesn't have to be 10 top spin. Even if just 2 to 4 top spin would be awesome. Now, of course, I have to go for it. Can I make it? Can I make it? Maybe. Maybe. It's going to push me forward about right there. I need to go forward a little bit more. And not hit it. That was so good, it was almost a slice. And the sign, I will tell you that right there, the sign helped me, but I would have rather ended up wherever I would have ended up and never see a sign out on the course, ever. And I'm going to forfeit just so that I drop another shot to try and keep me from good game. Good game. Good game, my man. All right. What is the deal here? It's not registering it because I forfeited. I think that should have been a +1, right? So that'll put me at 9. If a 9 qualifies, then I'm screwed anyways. All right, there you have it. We'll find out. We'll find out here in a little bit whether or not that was a qualifying round. You never want to go in with that weak of a tiebreaker. I typically don't go in with the best of tiebreakers, but you definitely don't want to go in with a 9. I think the lowest I've ever qualified with was, I know I've qualified several times with an 8, but I think there was once where I qualified with a 6. That was when the game first came out and everybody was using Monday as their practice round, and I figured I had it in the bag, and everybody else decided that they did not want to shoot more than a 6. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. Have a great week. Hopefully everybody has fun on these holes. Jamal Dunes, there are some of these holes that are really awesome holes, and some of them are just, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how the week goes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Stay safe, my friends.